let's talk about actually negotiating your salary and your compensation, because you are going to have to do that. So the first thing I would say is job negotiations aren't just about the money. We've talked in class about the problem. Once you start talking about money, it's hard to talk about other things. So make a list of the things when you're negotiating your job, and let's say you're negotiating at Google, what are some of the things you're going to negotiate? Well, you're going to negotiate your salary. You're going to negotiate possibly your time off. You're going to negotiate your roles and responsibilities. You might have some say about what group you work in or who your manager is going to be. You might have some say about your start date. All those things are easier to talk about before you talk about your compensation, because once people start talking about money, they tend to not have a very easy time talking about other things. And so you want to look at compensation as a basket of things as opposed to just your salary, number one. Bring objective criteria to the table. So let's say that you're going for that job at Google. Objective criteria means outside standards about what you should get paid. So you want to know what other people at Google are being paid for that role. You want to know what people are being paid at Yahoo or Microsoft or other similar companies. And you want to come with that kind of information, because you basically want to be paid, certainly out of school, what's fair. Okay? And the only way to know if it's fair is to attach it to some outside objective standard. It is always surprising to me. It seems very intuitive and very obvious, but most people don't do this homework and know it. Second element we've talked about, class, that's really important for salary and job negotiations is know your alternative. Okay? If you sit down with a hiring manager at Google and you guys can't come up with an agreement, what are you walking to? Do you have a job at Yahoo? Do you have a job at Microsoft? So knowing your BATNA, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement, and going into that negotiation, knowing what your walkaway is, gives you a lot of power. Right? And I would often go to the place I wanted to work second most and negotiate as much as I could there and get my offer solidified as much as I could. And then I would go, if my first choice in this case, this example is Google, then I go with that offer from Yahoo in my back pocket, knowing what my alternative was. That gives me a lot of power in the negotiation. Try, if you can, to negotiate with your boss, your direct superior. It's difficult when you're dealing with one person in a negotiation, then you're going to go work with someone different. Why is that difficult? Well, number one, the HR people often, to use them as an example, will promise you all kinds of things. Oh, yeah, you can definitely be in that group, and you'll work on that. And then you talk to the hiring manager, and there was a lack of communication between the two. And so to the extent that you can, you want to work out your roadmap and plan out your operating plan, the other things that we've talked about, with the person you're going to be working for. It's also very important that you get as much in writing as you can. I can't tell you how many students have come to me a couple months in their job and say, well, it was great. I got this offer at Google. They told me I'd be in the product marketing division in search, and I got there, and it was totally different. And so I think it's really important to get things on paper so that expectations are clear and operational and implementable, and people sometimes don't do that.